been an incredibly rainy day here in Rockland. Came back to the tender to find just a little bit of water in there. We did not escape the rain.
Since the trip from Portland, Steve and Robin had a couple of days to spend tucked away in Rockland Harbor, and they had a chance to visit with some of the locals.
Ah, the greeting committee.
If you watch through the build, you'll remember Aaron here,
Kiva.
featured prominently in the portside planking videos. But it was time to take care of something that had been put off for a while, and that meant leaving Arabella for the first time since launch.
I'm just gonna miss the ocean.
Yeah, I'll be back in Granby for about 2 weeks. Gotta get moved out of the house and finish packing up. We've been putting it off. We keep saying we're gonna go back, and then we delay it, and then keep saying we're gonna go back, and
This
we delay
place
it.
is nice. We're gonna stay here for a little while. That's all right. It's short term. We'll be back soon.
Not soon enough.
No. Well, we'll get to switch out some cold summer clothes for warm winter clothes.
Yep.
That's positive.
Yep. See you in a week and a half.
I'll miss you.
Still really weird there, not being a boathouse here. I mean, for 7 years, I walked out here almost every morning and opened the door, and there sat Arabella in one form or another. And the last big stretch, we had the big crew here, and now it's just a empty yard, a bit of a mess, and slowly being reclaimed by nature. So Robin and I are getting moved out of the house and getting possessions sold off and given away and put in storage, and trying to figure out what to do with all of that. So the last week has just been moving, shuffling, stacking, sorting, selling, and we're kind of racing to get back up to the boat because we would way rather be on Arabella in Rockland than here doing this right now, but we got to get this done.
I feel like I could lift it right up there if you want. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh my God. Ugh. Blair Witch Project. I just swallowed a bug.
A bunch of scrap metal in his yard. He just got it sitting there. Swallowed a bug.
Yeah, Blair Witch Project.
And this is the last thing to go on. And I think everybody recognizes this one. This is buck wild. This is a logging trick.
ready.
It almost worked.
Oh, we got one of them. We got one of them.
I need some bolts. Beautiful.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I love it here.
Go on this end of this. When I was a little kid, my great-grandparents lived in this house. My grandmother grew up in this house. I came back and moved in 2008 or 9 to do my master's degree, and I expected to be here about 2 years. And here we are, finally moving out 14 years later. And then Robin's lived here almost a year.
Yeah,
Actually, over a year.
over here. Yep, that was enough.
That was enough.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah, it is enough.
What do you think, Eva? You gonna miss this place? I don't think so. You seem to really enjoy the adventures on the boat. So the original part of this house was built in 1850. It's been added on to over the years, and it needs a lot of work. Probably needs to be taken down and rebuilt, but it's a family house, been in the family a long time, and we're actually sitting down in a couple nights and having a big family meeting about what to do with the house and the property. But for now, Robin and I are more or less moved out, and we're gonna leave it vacant for the winter. Pickle the pipes and deal with it later. We've got a few kitchen things and some office stuff, but otherwise pretty much cleaned out. It's weird seeing it so empty. All the people are picking through the last of our things. Everything out there is free for the taking, and they are taking it. Oh, we made the fridge in here. We made the trusses for the boathouse inside.
When I first met you, you were making the marine plywood in here.
Yes, I had the
And-
giant table laid out here.
Yeah, and you
Yep.
had like, you were showing me how you had like, you know, one layer going this way, and then a layer in the middle, and then like another layer going that way. And then he's like, and then I made it like a panini press. And he just like lowered this big piece of wood and put a bunch of bricks on top. And I'm like, that's the thing. It's like
It worked.
it did work. I was very impressed. I thought it was very attractive.
Oh, boy. All right, let's get out of here. Believe it or not, I have kept all of the fan mail that has ever been sent over all of the years. So there are layers upon layers upon layers of cards and letters and photos and the map of the world. So when things have not gone well, things have been challenging, when I've been tired and worn out, looking at the map of the world and dreaming of all of the places that would be able to go and do and things with Arabella, and then looking at all of the people who are following along and have found information, support, knowledge, inspiration, entertainment, whatever it is that they've gotten from following, whatever you've gotten from following. And for the folks who took the time to send us letters, to send us cards, they all got saved. So today, I'm going to take all this down and pack it away and open it up someday in the future. And it's been really amazing, and I can't wait in 20, 30, 40 years to sit down and reread all these. So thank you. So this is a card of us putting together the backbone. So that is part of the stem assembly. There's Alex, there I am, and there's this gentleman, Noel. So Noel came out and worked with us on the stem, and not too long after that, we got word that Noel had passed away, and that one of the things he wanted to do after he found out that he had cancer was to come here and work with Alex and I and Arabella. So Noel's family did a fundraiser in Noel's honor with the intention of putting that money towards Arabella's sales. And then Robbie Doyle came in and said, I'd like to give you guys sales. So those funds from Noel and from Noel's family got shifted, and that is what paid for all of the running, rigging, and all of the blocks and things for Arabella. So thank you to Noel's family and friends who contributed. So that is where all of that beautiful Harkin gear we have came from. All the blocks, the furler, all that kind of stuff. So thank you. Ray. So Ray had a rare form of blood cancer. And he'd made it to a couple open houses from New York. And he said that when he couldn't sleep at night because things were painful, that our videos were entertaining enough that he would focus on that and not on his discomfort, but not so exciting that he wasn't able to fall asleep. And he was very worried that we were going to be super offended by that. But for him, it was the perfect balance. And he said he would wake up in the middle of the night, he would put it on, he would watch for a while, he'd fall asleep, and then the next time he would just rewind and figure out where he left off and then pick back up. So yeah, it was amazing to hear that. Remember when a guy showed up and played that song in the boathouse for me? And this isn't fan mail, but I really just enjoyed this. Early on in the project, we asked George Kirby for some paint options, and they sent us a bunch of paint chips, the color chart, and a handwritten letter, which I thought was very nice, and that was something that you do not see nowadays. So there wasn't much on this board when we began, other than the logo and the map, and so George Kirby's letter got thrown up there. I bet he'd appreciate that. And then these are the original plans and info that I got for the boat. So these came shipped by Pat Akin. And I got the plans, and I had my friend Jeff make photocopies of them. So we've always been working off photocopies, and the originals have stayed in here. Pretty wild. Oh, apparently there's a fortune cookie tacked up here. I forgot about this one. You're a traveler at heart. There will be many journeys. Very true. Very true. Oh man. Back in May, before we left Granby, we bought these two 20-foot shipping containers, and they were really handy. We used them for storage, and we used them for paint and for varnish work and sanding as we had everybody here and we're doing the big final push to launch. And then when we took down the boathouse, we put everything that was in there, all the tools, anything that we wanted to save, all got put into this container. And it was a ton of bodies, everything moving, very chaotic. So everything just kind of got shoved in there. And we took a lot of tools to Mattapoisa, and then those came back, and a bunch of them ended up in the garage, and some of them ended up in here. So to make a long story very short, we needed to get a third shipping container and get everything sorted and put away so that it can actually be found and used and be there for a significant amount of time. Lumber and the boathouse. So down here is the oak, and we've got cedar, and there's some pine in here, some maple, but basically all of the good wood that we had left up here that was worth saving got stacked and stickered into the container here. And there are the gussets for the trusses. The boathouse roof is all the way tucked into the back, and all of the trusses are split in half and stacked here. So when we designed this roof and built it, the cover was very expensive and came with a multi-year warranty. So we figured if we were spending all of this money on the cover, we should make the trusses in a way that it could all easily come apart and all easily be reassembled. So if we were to bring this container somewhere, we can quite easily join the trusses back together with their gussets, put the crossballs on them, stand that all up, drag the boathouse roof over the top of it, and have an Insta-shop. So it seemed like those were definitely worth saving, and I have to give major credit to Scott. He's the one that took all of these apart, and on an incredibly hot day, lugged them all over here and climbed into an incredibly hot container and stacked them. And he was doing that while I was going through and sorting and organizing and figuring and making a million decisions. So thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. Container number 2 is where we had stored everything from the boathouse. And that is now currently all of Robin and I's stuff. So we will leave that one for a moment. So container number 3 is where all of the tools from the boathouse ended up. And right now, Robin and I's bikes are just shoved in the doorway here to it. But everything is set up so that there's a clear passageway when the bikes are removed down the middle. So now if Grandpa needs to get some tool and I'm not around, he can get in here and get anything that he needs. And if we are working on something on the boat and we come back to visit family, it's real easy to just pull the drill press or the bandsaw or the chop saw into the middle where it's open, make a few cuts, do what we need to do, put the tools back, grab some tools. So I'm really, really happy with how all of this shaped up inside the container.
So I knew that I was going to move more than once this year, because I moved here from where I was living out in Easton about a year and a half ago, I think May of 2022. And it was serendipitous. The stars aligned and I got an opportunity to rent out my condo, and Steve and I had been together long enough. So we decided to sort of make the move. But I knew that it was temporary because we were going to be moving on to Arabella. All of this stuff is set aside for friends and some of my daughter's childhood furniture, which will be out of here within the next day. But basically over here, we've got access to all of our adventure gear, which is important because that's probably the thing we're going to be coming here to swap out the most. My bedroom set proved to be a pretty nice addition to the storage container because we were able to store some clothes in there. So I have summer clothes that we won't really need in Maine this time of year, all packed away. I've got some heavy winter stuff that we don't need quite yet, all packed away. And then a few sentimental items that, some of the items I've collected over the years, which are meaningful to me.
So Robin and I are really fortunate that my family has this property, and that us leaving 3 containers here, one full of lumber and a boathouse, one full of tools and equipment for a future shop, and one full of our gear and personal possessions, has made this really feasible. If we had to pay, a few $100s every month to rent a storage unit like this somewhere else, it wouldn't take very many years for the cost of that storage to be more value than everything that's stored in it. So that can be a really tricky balance to walk with saving things. And we talked about a lot of that of, well, if we don't open this for 10 years, are the things that we leave in here even going to be usable? So we had to weigh all the pros and cons for that. And for us, it worked out well to buy the containers. They're not inexpensive, but they're brand new. They've got sealed vents for the bugs. They've got great airflow. We don't have to worry about mice, which we definitely have to worry about anything we leave in the old house. So they're really a nice, secure way for us to store all our stuff, and thankfully we have a place where we can leave them and they can sit for a while. If we do get property somewhere else or do something down the road, it won't take a lot of work to kind of board the sides up and wedge everything in here well, and we'll be able to truck these and ship these somewhere else. So for us, this worked out to be a really good option. We can always sell the containers down the road, or we could line them up and put the boathouse roof over them, and you might kind of see where we're headed with that someday. Goofing off, yeah. Yeah. So what do you think of Sullivan Metals?
I love it. What a cool place. I think everybody should have to spend a day seeing where things go, but also like the machinery is, you know me. The machinery is so good.